Coming up, COVID-19 infection rate is growing by leaps and bounds. A complete lockdown is possible in the North Kazakhstan region. Kazakh citizens are encouraged to become blood donors. The most frequently asked questions were answered by a staff member of the Transfusion Center. Don't miss out on the exclusive material tonight. Domestic historians gained access to classified materials that were stored in the state archives of Ukraine. Details shortly. Kazakhstan entered the United Nations Human Rights Council for 2022 to 2024. As Kazakh Foreign Ministry noted, the election of Kazakhstan to the main human rights body of the World Organization is the recognition of its role as an active and responsible participant in the process of promoting international norms and standards in the field of protection of rights. Priority areas of the organization's work have already been determined, including the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women, the universal abolition of the death penalty, the fight against all forms of intolerance, freedom of religion and belief. To open the Eurasian Center for Research on Gender Equality in Almaty. This initiative was put forward by the Kazakh delegation on the sidelines of the 3rd Eurasian Women's Forum. The event, which is attended by about 1,500 representatives from almost 100 countries, is taking place in St. Petersburg.
Пришло время институализировать наши знания, наши навыки.
Policies supporting gender initiatives are not systematic. It is time to institutionalize our knowledge, our skills, and establish a Central Asian Center for Gender Education. The UN Regional Hub established in Kazakhstan can serve as a very good platform. Best practices can be collected within this hub.
В рамках этого хаба можно собирать наилучшие практики.
In our country, women are widely represented in the economy, politics, and social sphere. Kazakh women account for about 40% of the country's GDP. At the decision-making level, the proportion of female leaders has also increased. Since the introduction, in the last elections, of a 30% gender quota to work in local representative bodies, the number of women parliamentarians has increased twofold. 60% of civil servants in the country are also women.
Мы увидели великую роль женщин, так как в образовании, здравоохранении работает более 80%.
The great role of women was especially obvious during the pandemic, as more than 80% of women work in education and healthcare. In these difficult times, they took full responsibility for both our health and the education of our children. A comprehensive support program by the head of state and legislative support made it possible to increase the salaries of social workers by 2 to 2.5 times.
Позволили увеличить заработную плату работникам социальной сферы, как раз именно образование, здравоохранение, в 2-2,5 раза.
Special attention was paid to the plight of Afghan women. The forum participants called for organizing the delivery of humanitarian supplies to Afghanistan. Uzbekistan is launching a new mechanism to increase the volume of attracted investments and increase exports. According to the Podrobno.uz portal, it is aimed at making full use of the economic and industrial potential of regions and cities of the country, as well as stimulating their accelerated and even socio-economic development. Project teams will be established under the new scheme to analyze the available untapped opportunities. After that, strategies and development concepts will be developed on their basis. A Technology and Innovation Support Center will be created in Turkmenistan, Central Asia News reports. The new department will increase the possibility of transferring knowledge and technologies to the state economy, will help develop the domestic Turkmen market, and will also deal with registration issues and protection of created intellectual property items. This will be supported by the World Intellectual Property Organization. The parties have already signed a cooperation agreement. India plans to provide Kyrgyzstan with a $200 million concessional loan. According to the sputnik.kg, in addition, the official New Delhi will allocate up to $1.5 million in grants. The financial assistance will be used for the implementation of socially significant projects in the areas of health, agriculture and agri-industry, renewable energy sources, and trade. Kazakhstan reported 1,967 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. Almaty accounts for the highest single-day case count in the country. The 1,000 metropolis detected 333 new positive cases of infection. Nur-Sultan follows with 248 new cases. Almaty region is in the third place with 189 new infections. Since the beginning of the pandemic, total COVID-19 cases in Kazakhstan have passed 912,000. According to the data from the Health Ministry, more than 52,000 residents currently continue to receive treatment for coronavirus. 185 patients are in critical condition, while 125 people are on a ventilator. The mass vaccination campaign continues in the country. To date, 7,059,597 citizens have been vaccinated against the virus with 2 doses, the relevant ministry reported.
Солтүстік Қазақстан облысы толық локдаунға жабылуы мүмкін. Өңірде соңғы 2 аптада COVID-19-ға шалдығу деңгейі 1,5 есе өскен. Облыстың санитар дәрігерлерінің айтуынша, эпидахуалға кері әсер ету факторларының бірі вакциналау науқанның төмен жүруі және дельта штаммының таралуы болып отыр. 2 аптадан бері солтүстік Қазақстан облысы коронавирус инфекциясының таралуы бойынша қауіптіліктің қызыл деңгейінде тұр. Егер ауру деңгейі азаймаса, мекемелердің жұмысын тоқтатып, аймақта локдаун жариялауымызға тура келеді. Әрине, бұл мәжбүрлі шара, себебі коронавирус инфекциясына шалдыққан науқастар санының көбеюі медициналық мекемелерге салмақ түсіруі мүмкін дейді облыстың бас санитар дәрігерінің орынбасары Арман Күшпасов.
The number of coronavirus cases worldwide grows again. In New Zealand, which observed good results in the fight against the disease, over 70 people were infected with COVID-19 in the past day. The city of Auckland registered the highest case count. The authorities announced that the epidemiological situation in the country deteriorated because residents throw home parties. Now it is planned to reintroduce restrictions in the country, which will remain in effect until 90% of the population is vaccinated, the authorities said.
Level 3 has worked to contain outbreaks in Auckland before, but with Delta we know we are facing a more tricky and challenging opponent. And we also know that the longer restrictions are applied, the more fatigue creeps in and our guard can slip. But I can't urge people enough that now is not the time for complacency.
The epidemiological situation in Russia remains difficult. 986 people died from COVID-19 here in the last day, hitting a new record. This is the highest figure since the beginning of the pandemic. The number of cases also increased. For the first time, the daily case count exceeded 30,000. Experts attribute this to low vaccination rates. The authorities warned that additional restrictions will be imposed in the coming days. Members of the Senate in France rejected a bill on mandatory coronavirus vaccination. Most of the senators decided that persuasion works better than intimidation in this matter. Earlier, a group in the Senate proposed making immunization against COVID-19 compulsory. At the same time, this requirement was to apply only to representatives of certain professions: doctors, social workers, rescuers. Today, almost 90% of the population is fully vaccinated in the country, but the lowest level is observed in the most vulnerable group, among citizens over 65 years old.
Nous opposons à l'obligation.
We oppose compulsory vaccination for everyone because we believe in awareness and understanding on the part of our compatriots. Recent weeks and months have shown that this strategy has been chosen correctly.
Je crois que les dernières semaines.
Шетелдегі қандастардың ұбыт тапсыру механизмін оңтайландыру немесе мүлде алып тастау керек, себебі оларға жылда бөлінетін грант толықтай игерілмеуде. Бұл туралы Отандастар қоры коммерциялық емес акционерлік қоғамы жанындағы қоғамдық комиссияның кезекті отырысы барысында қордың вице-президенті Мағауия Сарбасов мәлімдеді. Спикер мәлім еткендей, этникалық қазақтар үшін ұбыт тапсыру қиындық тудырады. Өйткені қазақстандық бағдарлама бойынша 11 жыл оқыған талапкер Қазақстанда ешқашан оқымаған немесе тек 9 айлық дайындық курсынан өткен этникалық қазақтармен тең дәрежеде тест тапсырады. Сондықтан осы 4% квотаға 40% ниет білдірушілер ие бола алмайды. Алайда мәселеге жауапты ведомство өкілі ұбыт сұрақтарына қиналатын қандастарымызға арнайы стипендиялық бағдарлама арқылы білім алу мүмкіндігі барын айтты.
2019 жылдан бастап ұлттық бірыңғай тестілеудің сынағынсыз стипендиялық бағдарлама арқылы шетелде жүрген қазақ, бірақ Қазақстанның азаматтығы жоқ азаматтарды Қазақстанның жоғарғы оқу орындарында оқытудың жаңа тетігі іске қосылған болатын. Осы арқылы жылына 500-ге жуық, дәлірек айтсақ 490 бакалавриат, 50-ге жуық магистратура, 10-ға жуық докторантура деңгейіндегі орындар қарастырылған. Бұл ерекшелік емтихан тапсырылмайды, пікір алмасу негізінде азаматтарды қабылдаудың толық мүмкіндігі бар.
Айта кетейік, қоғамдық комиссияның кезекті отырысында бұдан бөлек Қазақстандағы репатрианттардың қос азаматтығы, шетелдегі қазақ мәдени орталықтарын қолдау, солтүстік Қазақстан облысында қандастарды орналастыру мен азаматтық алған қандастардың шетелдегі еңбек өтілдерін есепке алу тақырыптары көтерілді.
Kazakh scholars and historians have familiarized themselves with the documents of the State Archives of Ukraine. According to them, the valuable papers can shed light on many mysteries of Kazakh history. Ukraine began publishing historical documents that were previously classified as top secret in 2015. As a result, Kazakh scholars had been able to familiarize themselves with the material on deportation of peoples, famine, political repression, and other events of the past century.
Киев қаласындағы 3-4 архивтері, олар орталық мемлекеттік Украина архиві, қауіпсіздік.
We split into 3 groups. The first one worked in the archives of Kiev. These are the Central State Archives of Ukraine, archives of national security. They have many archival documents that previously were not in scientific circulation. Thanks to this work, we have identified thousands of Kazakhs.
Арқасында біз мыңдаған қазақстандық адамдардың есімі анықталып, сол туралы архивтік құжаттар алдық.
Мұнда нақты айтқанда 1937.
In particular, previously top-secret documents had been made available. Scientists were given the opportunity to work in the State Security Archive of Ukraine. There are all the decrees, instructions, protocols, orders of the NKVD and the KGB between 1937 and 1991, and all of them have been put into scientific circulation. Funds are currently open. There is an opportunity to work with them, as well as with various archival research. Kazakh citizens are encouraged to regularly donate blood. People who have had coronavirus are also invited to undergo the procedure. Any adult who has no contraindications and weighs at least 50 kilograms can become a donor. If a person has consumed alcoholic beverages, he is barred from donation for 48 hours. If he had the flu, then the period is 2 weeks. In case of tonsillitis, it is 2 months. For coronavirus, it is 2 weeks, but if there was a pneumonia complication, then a month. According to the Research and Production Center for Transphysiology in Nur-Sultan, the majority, 69% of donors last year were male. Women donated blood less frequently. Most often, donors are people between 30 and 50 years of age. People over 50 years of age account for 13% of donors. The rest are citizens aged 18 to 30.
Донорлыққа бірінші рет келдім. Енді осы уақытқа дейін көптеген адамдар тапсырып жатыр.
I came here to donate blood for the first time. Nowadays, many people are becoming donors, and it's a very good thing to do. I consider it my civic duty. It may not be a great contribution, but I came here to help people. I'm going to donate blood now, and I'm very excited. I hope my blood will help save somebody's life. I urge everyone not to be afraid to donate blood.
Енді бүкіл шақырамыз қан тапсыруға.
The whole donation process doesn't take much time. However, for some, this blood can be a precious gift and save their lives. Today, the world marks Global Handwashing Day. This holiday was first celebrated on October 15, 2008. The idea of such an unusual day belongs to the United Nations General Assembly, the UNICEF Children's Fund, and the World Health Organization. Every year, on October 15th, events are held around the world dedicated to the prevention of diseases that can be caused by unwashed hands. Among them are cholera, viral pneumonia, hepatitis, diphtheria, influenza, viral respiratory infections, scabies, and other fungal diseases. According to experts, these diseases are one of the main reasons of high infant mortality in Asia and Africa. For example, 5,000 kids die every day from diarrhea, which is also called the disease of dirty hands. As the UN and the WHO experts noted, the problem of unwashed hands has catastrophic consequences and it has to be considered on a global scale.